that it was going to be green screen, and having that preset thing in my head that, okay, it's going to be like a haunted house, and I'm imagining this as I'm driving over, and then I just see this big green sheet. I'm like, oh, this is all up to your imagination, Laura. Please don't F it up.
Oh, no. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. Later on, I mean, it was pretty incredible. No one knew that it was green screen. It actually won for best special effects as well as best acting and best cinematography. So that's just all the work of Dale, man. He does all that in his computer, and then he has like all the actors bring it to life. But it was just me and then the little girl that was in the house. So we were the only two that really had to like act it out on green screen. So that was pretty interesting. And it was a great experience too, because now I have that under my belt, and I absolutely know, I'm like, okay, this is how it's gonna go. And the other thing that I ran into also is he asked me to bring jammy pants. So I brought jammy pants, and he said just no green in them, before I knew it was gonna be green screen. And so I was like, okay. And I'm bringing in these like Christmassy pants. They have like little specks of green, and I'm thinking it's not gonna matter, like whatever. No, gotta change those whole pants. He had to like get his daughter's pants for me.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, how embarrassing. Like, because he showed me what it looked like, and they're literally like little holes. Like,
oh no.
I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry.
You know what? That could have played well in Skitz on 360 TV. Being holy. That could have played well, yes.
Me and my holy pants. Holy pants in a haunted house will make a whole new film.
Or if you're on a farm, holy cow.
Exactly.
Oh, so Mania just came up, and of course that won quite an interesting award, and you also were in director's Anthony Penney's film. He's out of Florida, and some award-winning ones. You can just tell us a little about that and what some of the awards it's won.
Well, actually, one of the films that has already won actually it's been nominated for Best Trailer and then Best Short Film is his film Bark. And that one I was just a little bit of a voiceover character in that. I played a newscaster. But that one is going to be released pretty soon. It's still in post-production. The Things We Lose is the big one coming up for his film, and that's going to be filming in the summer. And it's all about just basically how we all go through life, and many think that life is pain, and I think that life is sometimes pain, not all the time, but definitely sometimes. And every gain that we have in life, there's also a loss. And, it poses that really important question of, is it worth what you're gaining, what you're losing? Is it really worth it? So, there's like a scene in the beginning that I can't really tell too much about, but basically, if you think about something really happy that can happen, but at the same time, it's very tragic what can happen at the same time. I can't talk too much about this because it's new, but that's the whole premise of it. There's a whole bunch of different characters, and they're all based on feelings like agony, torment, misery, just all those dark feelings that we feel within ourselves. And the great thing about Anthony Penney is he's not afraid to look at things that other people would like to shy away from. So what's great about his film is it's going to definitely cross a lot of boundaries. It's going to cross a lot of lines. It's going to probably make some people feel really uncomfortable. But one of the reasons that I got into acting too is to make an impact on people's lives too. So if that happens in a shocking way, but it's something that my character would do, so be it. Here we go.
It was amazing, too. And it kind of reminded me of that one Disney Pixar movie displaying, each person's feelings, happy, sad, and, whatever else. I mean, I can't think of the name of it right now, and I've seen it, but I do know what you're getting at. So That's what it sounds like as well, too. So, and you also have been in Silence is Golden. You can just tell us a little bit about that, too. That's up and coming.
Well, Silence is Golden is definitely an up-and-coming film as well. So we haven't shot it yet, but I'm playing the character of Elbow the Jester, and the gist of it is it's basically like an imaginary world, there's a cross between a dream world and then the actual world. And the two characters are basically arguing what has happened in the actual world through the dream world. So I play mostly what's in the dream world, like this manipulative, kind of conniving character that claims that she sees everything that like is happening, and she has all of these different secrets, and they call her the Jester because they never really know if she's joking or not. But it's not in a ha-ha way, it's in a conniving, like, evil way. So yeah, and you know, basically the film opens with just one of the characters is capturing the Jester, and, you know, throws her in the back of the car, and she's just this young girl, and they're like we can't really take her seriously, you know, and it starts off in the dream world, and basically it just goes from then on, and then you meet other characters too that kind of tell, you know, what the main character is going through. So it's a little bit of a more I would say kind of supernatural sort of film. But yeah, that's going to be really great.
It does sound like it, too, and it's amazing as well, too. And, of course, you've been in some commercials, you've been in some modeling and everything like that. Or what are some of your best commercials you think you've done?
Well, let's see. I would say the best one that I did is a commercial slash short film, and it was called CVI Robot Maid. There's this apartment complex in Orlando, and it's called the Collegiate Village Inn. And while I was going to Full Sail as a student, my friend Andrew actually was a producer, and he was just shooting a lot of films, and somehow he got to talking with the apartment complex, and they needed more people to pick their apartment complex, or at least get their apartment complex more on the map. And he's like, well, you know, I shoot all these little shorts, and he happens to be very, very good at shooting at comedy. And so he's like, you know, I can hire student actors. They're going to be students, but, you know, they're definitely going to, you know, put your apartment complex on the map. And, you know, I think it's actually really appropriate since you're trying to get students to stay there while they're going to school. So yeah, so it was really interesting because they bought it. They paid him to shoot this commercial, and it's literally called CVI Robot Maid, and it's about this guy who is really excited to be there. It's his first time away from home, and you know, it opens up with him looking at the rooms and deciding, okay, yeah, I'm gonna be here. And then you know, shortly after he's settling in, this robot essentially comes out from one of the walls, and it's basically like, oh, you know, what can I do for you? And he's like, whoa, I was not expecting that. What are you talking about? What, like, you know? So it starts out like that, basically, and then they end up being like like really, really good friends, until one of the people from the hotel get wind of it, and basically they're like, why does he have a robot and we don't? And so people get angry, and he ends up, the robot ends up not being able to handle all of it, so he ends up like jumping out of the building.
Oh my
gosh!
Like, this
scene where all the robot parts go everywhere, and yeah, and then it just ends right there, and it's like CVI, welcome, we're everyone's family, and it's like it's great. It actually helps a lot of people want to go to that apartment complex.
Oh my gosh! And I mean, how much did they charge or something? Did it go up because everybody wanted to go there or something, or what?
Man, I don't even know the details on that. I don't. I know Andrew would. But but I do know that it was just essentially way more popular after that came out. And then yeah, Andrew moved to LA, and so he's doing his own stuff now. But that was his first commercial, and in Legion Productions. So that still is production company today.
That is amazing too, and it made me think of the of the cartoon slash Disney Pixar film Wall-E. It just makes me think of it.
Oh,
Wall-E, what can I do for
yeah.
you, Wall-E? it,
Exactly.
it just made me think. And of course, there was one thing I forgot to ask about. You've been in Anthony Penney's films, and just tell us how'd you come across Anthony Penney and working with him.
Actually, that was on Hazed. So the first time that I was on Hazed and I walked up there, he was the only guy there because the dare was between the sorority girls. So it was like two girls and then one boyfriend, and so he played the boyfriend. So he was acting at the time. It was one of his last films that he was acting in, and so yeah, we basically just like got to talking on set and everything. And shortly before that, it's kind of funny because he was casting for his film Blinded. That's won so many awards too. And I remember messaging him about it, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm interested in the script and everything. And so he sent it over, and I read it. And because his films are very raw, to the point, they make you look at things that sometimes you're not ready to look at. It really paralleled, how people are blinded in love. And is it really love that they're feeling, or is it lust? And that compared to my current relationship. So I turned the part down. And I just told him I can't do it. It's too close to home. There's a scene where basically the two people who they say they're in love, but really it's lust. They're having sex, but they have bags over their head, basically pretending like everything is okay, when really it's not, and sex doesn't fix everything. And so, basically when you're blinded in love, it kind of just raises the question, are you really in love, or is this something else? And I turned it down. And then it was funny because then a week later, I was on the set of Hazed, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm Anthony Penney." And I was like, "Oh, I turned down your film." And he's like, "Oh, you're Laura Stetman?" I was like, "Yeah." Oh, this is so embarrassing. he's like, "Wow, who would have known?" It's fine. I don't hold you responsible for it. It's fine. Not everyone can do it. I was like, "Yeah."
It's almost the thing is who knew, and when you mentioned about having bags over the head, having sex, and I think this will give the impression is, hey, sex in the bag. Is this going to be a new trend, or what's going on here? It's like eating Tide Pods or some next trend that's out there. So.
Exactly. But yeah, that is the first time I ever met Anthony Penney, and then yeah, he's actually my boyfriend now, so that's interesting. I don't think anyone saw it going that way, but yeah.
But of course, you also look on Facebook as well too. You're in a number of films, and plus you got some upcoming projects. And speaking of that, what do you consider your most favorite project that you've worked on? You give me all the great things you've done. What do you think is the most number one you've done?
That is a really good question, because I'm like literally flashing back through all of my projects right now in my head. I would have to say it's between Dollhouse and Woods of Purgatory, the TV series with Michael Fredinelli. He's the one that directs it.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty interesting. Both of them are more darker films, darker tones, and I think I just like that whole dramatic, kick to stories. So what I loved about Dollhouse is that it takes place in essentially a cage. Like most of the entire film is just about this girl, Brenda, who's trapped in this cage, and she wakes up. And basically, she doesn't know how she got there. She doesn't know where she is. She's just in the middle of the woods. And she starts like crying out for help, and it goes through the film where it's days where she's just trying to get it open. She's shaking the cage, she's kicking the cage, she's trying to bite the cage, she's trying to crawl out of the cage, push it over, literally everything she could do to just get out. And there's this one guy that comes every single day in a truck, and he just drops her off some food in exchange for her basically